Hi, welcome to Urban Insights. I'm Jayashree Kuru. I have with me Mr. V. Suresh, one of the finest urban specialists in the country and perhaps in many parts of the world. Mr. Suresh, we're talking about a situation where around the world, climate change is very, very real for all of us. Whether it is Italy, France, Switzerland, Wayanad, Himachal Pradesh, Manipur, Uttarakhand, we are seeing havoc being wreaked by intense precipitation. This and with city after city going down with floods and so on, loss of lives and loss of assets. What is it that cities have to do from a planning perspective, from an implementation perspective? It's upon us, so we can't take a 5 years to plan. So what do we do at this point of time?
I think the issue that you have brought out is very real. It's global. The whole thing is not just precipitation, but it's the intense precipitation of short duration of time. Suddenly, the peaking of the rainfall, a two month rainfall taking place in just 24 hours or 48 hours. So that means the quantum of the precipitation coming in a short duration period is where most of the cities and towns have been caught napping. So that's a real issue. But it is not insurmountable. There are solutions available for that if only we had planned for that. For first of all, first and foremost, all our city plans. You are actually in a place in Gurugram. Again, large number of good planners, architects, engineers building the best possible building there. But on the stormwater drainage and surface drainage is extremely bad. An area which is comparatively not attended to by most of the planners and developers, including the local bodies, because the hydraulic load coming due to rain and the stormwater drainage, which is the rainwater carrying capacity from the road to the drains and from the drains to the main drains and to the water to the at the ultimate to a river or a lake or a sea or whatever. That's an area which has not been attended to even earlier. Leave alone even under normal precipitation, it has not been happening. It's very unfortunate, which means that even though you got spatial planners and town planners and architects and also engineers working on it, a hydraulic engineer or the one to deal with the rain flow or the water flow pattern has not been associated to the same degree. Maybe around for 100 years back or 80 years back, most of the cities like Mumbai or Chennai or Bangalore, etc., reasonably good stormwater drains are there for that degree of development. But that degree of development has gone manifold now. Maybe if it was a 20 lakh city, most of them have gone to already 80 lakhs or a crore and a half. Mumbai and Delhi already going into the 2 crores type of population level. That means your density of development has phenomenally increased and the population also has gone. So large number of areas which are part of a hydraulic path, which normally would have taken the water away when the rain comes over there, they're all filled with development. Large number of low-lying areas, which used to be the way the natural flow of water was there, a lot of new development has come. And this has been happening all over, be it in Chennai or in Bangalore or including Hyderabad. As you said, many cities, you've been seeing most, including desert cities like in Rajasthan also same thing is happening. So the degree of development, density of development has been going on in a very what can I say, rapid manner, with the demographic explosion taking place in all our cities and towns, and they require more and more land. And for more and more land, they should have ensured that those areas which are going towards water bodies or they were low-lying area which requires to be taken care of as a sponge area, sponge city for absorbing the water. That's where the development has been happening. Number two, the sections of drainage, whether trapezoidal section or a circular section of stormwater drain through which the water can be, the carrying capacity of the drains are not good enough. What was good for a 20 lakh city is not good enough for a 100 lakh city, a 5 times population more. That means your capacity of all your underground drainage and even over surface drainage has not been good enough. That's the second point. The third point is even if those drains are there, they're all getting clogged with the wastage of all what do you call biodegradable waste, plastic waste, including malba, construction malba being dumped into the particular thing. The section of all those drains are not able to take care of the hydraulic loads and hydraulic. So the hydraulic paths, that's the natural flow of water from a higher level to a lower area, and these are not pumped out. It flows by itself by the gravity of the water. So you require a certain amount of self-cleansing velocity and also flow there. That has all been affected very badly. So all your new extensions, be it on Noida or Greater Noida or Ghaziabad, or Gurugram, wherever development is taking place in the NCR region over there, you could see that sudden increase of densities. Most of the cities to be popular and populist, the political planners and bureaucracy have decided to enhance the FAR and FSI in all the area. Instead of maybe a 5-story development or a 10-story development, all of them suddenly being a 20 stories and 30 stories and 40 stories type of development coming. So densities of a very large nature. So as a cumulative result of all these particular things, you have a deficiency in the storm water to be drained, and therefore the cross drainage works is equally important. Even if in front of it is fine, at some point of junctions which is called cross drainage from one to the other crossing, that's again an area where we are not being really giving attention. Again, the jurisdiction of the nature of roads between a private sector layout of a neighborhood linked with the municipal drain, which is in the ownership of that particular drain is belong to somebody of a government or a local body or a PWD or a state PWD, becomes a larger issue. And then bring along with the national highway development, which is central intervention, and metro development, which is again a central intervention, railway intervention. So these are all coming into crossing the hydraulic paths in a very large way, and it's a cumulative effect of all these put together. We are having the type of what can I say flooding and waterlogging in a very large way. So that's one day. And add on to that the new dimension of the climate change agenda, where the intensity of rainfall comes very suddenly with the quantum of the water flow enhanced 5 times, 6 times. They say the 2 months water has come in exactly 2 days. That's the type of things everybody is talking about. So they're all caught napping. If only some of those drains were also expanded, just like the density was going up from 2-story development or 20-story development. If you are also taking care of that, that is why in the National Building Code of India, clearly they have indicated that when density is to be enhanced from the present value for any particular thing to any new value, you can do that. But simultaneously, the infrastructure carrying capacity of the water supply line, the sewerage line, most of the cities don't even have good sewerage available, and the stormwater drainage aspect has got to be enhanced in a large way. Then water bodies which were there, small lakes and ponds and other related things, an ability to retain those water bodies, because they finally help you to take away the water to a better type of location. So it's a cumulative effect of all these put together that has made all our cities planners and city management authorities, including private sector developed colonies, be it whichever be the biggest developers is not there. But I'm happy that one or two good ones which we have developed in Mumbai and in Powai as well as in Oragadam. Very happy. Know where the problem is, because drainage was an important component. We are given equally important aspect, just like your landscaping, aesthetical beauty of the building, architecture. Equally important is the public health engineering and the stormwater drainage component of very large nature being attended to. But if we attend to that, there are solutions are there, and I'm very happy when it was happening in Mumbai many times, or in Oragadam, in those townships never had once the problem of flooding, whereas bigger builders in other locations had all their basements, everything flooded, even the lower floors being flooded. You got to take care of that. So therefore a good hydrologist A hydraulic engineer is an equally important part, like a town planner, an architect, or a civil engineer for construction. There, you have to associate them properly, and depending upon the contours and the lay of the land, and from where the water comes, where the water goes, you are able to have that hydraulic path mapping in a large way, and that's a very important hydraulic path mapping when these type of things, and you have to we have to simulate. You have to simulate that condition also. By the way, simulate for normal rainfall, sudden incessant rainfall during the monsoon period rainfall. Do that hydraulic modeling. You can always succeed. I would say only 2 to 3% of the type of development the country would have attempted this particular thing. By and large, it is not taken into account. Take a road over here, some drain, water will anyway flow. The road itself become a drain. That has become the order of the day.
Mr. Suresh, we actually formulated the national digital twinning policy, where underground utilities can be mapped, can be planned, and by using modeling, we could actually figure out how much intervention is required.
Absolutely, absolutely can be done. It can be done. And I told you we are done successfully. We have successfully done for the projects that we have in Powai as well as in Oragadam. We have done successfully, and also in Panvel we have done. We never had once a problem of flooding there because that's an important factor. And we always proudly used to say that we never used a problem of flooding coming in that area. And it's an issue that we have to take into account, just like good water, good surface water, and cleaning up, and maintain periodic cleaning of all the drains and silt removal is an equally important component. Either you just saw around about last year, the one of the major city of Cochin, and find that 2.5 kilometers of the particular roads in main highway got completely clogged. What that water was to go, water could never go because they're all completely jam packed with what do you call plastics. All the plastic which have gone choked it, has choked it. Similarly, in Trivandrum, just about 1.5 months back, the case of one Mr. Vijayan who died, who and that's again a problem between the corporation land, the railway land, and at the whole, it's a continuous drain going from the main city corporation, and it passes through a railway station, then goes out. Can you believe somebody who went to clean up in the corporation land, finally his body was finally found much later. So between jurisdiction of the railway land as well as the city municipal land, who will deal with that? And most of when continuous drainage paths are there, you have to clearly find out responsibilities. And I saw both these cases of Cochin as well as Trivandrum very live in my mind.
Let's talk about finance. The lowest hanging fruit is to desilt, remove plastics, open out water bodies, and do digital twinning so that you can use technology models to check it out. But what is the cost implication for a city, and does a city plan its finances for this kind of thing, considering that it is such a critical thing where lives and assets are being lost?
Jayashree, you can take a ballpark figure. Your surface drainage and stormwater drainage in the overall infrastructure cost would not even go more than 1% of the total layout, underground layout. So it's a very small price. We don't care. We are ready to put all types of finishes of say 600 rupees per square feet, 1000 rupees square feet, tiles and all that. But then we are not able to take a basic net. These are all very, very important for the sustenance of the city itself. And people are not, first of all, they should know this is important. So a builder, they think of the architect, they think of an engineer for the building aspect, but the infrastructure to be created, which will cover the road, the surface drain, the underground water line, underground sewer line, underground electricity line, all those particular things are very, very important. And now that infra will cover other lines like including your information communication lines of the telecom lines, and without that nothing can happen in any of the cities or towns over there. Instead of overhead things all being underground, so new cities developments are coming where the side sections of the roads which come will take care of dedicated corridors for all these particular things to be provided rightly, and we have done that in both these cases. That's why I'm talking with confidence. It can be done, and no more to put those particular in the middle of the road so that you dig up the road for a water line or a sewer line or a later on gas line. So all that can happen so that road and the road section are not continuously repeatedly broken. That's also another reason. The drainage, one of the reason probably is the road quality is also bad, and therefore the road surface they break up with a little amount of rain. The asphaltic road or concrete road, they get weather beaten, and therefore they also become difficult for people to travel. So that flooding, it's aggravated also. If you're able to keep the road surface with the right slopes and camber, you will be able to have less amount of problems on those particular roads with potholes and related area. So it's a small cost. It's not very costly, but get the right people of a road engineer or a hydraulic engineer associated with the right type of development for the section. And then most importantly, continuous maintenance to ensure that those things do not, and water should go. How will the water go from the main road through appropriate holes and slots which are there, through which it can go into the main drain, and from the main the subsidiary drain to the main drain, etc. And those particular things have to be also periodically maintained and cleaned, and also the silt to be removed, the clogging by the waste, etc. to be done. Just normally before the monsoon, before the onset of monsoon, a month or two before that, you should do all that. Not when after the monsoon starts.
Right. Mr. Suresh, are there any metrics to determine the carrying capacity of the city as far as what the hydraulic paths are concerned? Because cities more and more are concretizing themselves. The pavements are concretized. There's less vegetation, and hardly any water gets absorbed. So, is there any metrics for carrying capacity of cities?
Yeah, I think as far as road surface is concerned, I'm sure Jeshi will agree. You want that to be hard, whether it's going to be what you call asphaltic road or a concrete road or a normal bitumen road, that you don't want. But that is on the road where the vehicle. But other areas which are that particular thing, they should have at least 50% of the land outside. They should have the way in which the water can be absorbed over there. The rainwater harvesting is not only through the rainwater pits which can be there, it can also from the surface. The greening is an important component. I think Singapore is an excellent example. Excellent example. I keep on quoting, and their rainfall is also very, very high, 140 to 150 inches of rainfall annually. So it's in the tropical area. And how we are able to do it, from 30% open area and green area, they have converted that to around 47% now, and roughly around 60 square meter per person is the green, whereas most of our cities don't have 3 square meter per person. 9 square meter per person is what the WHO wants of the green landscaping required for you to absorb the water so that it goes down to the aquifer, because all can't coming only from the rainwater harvest through one or two small holes being drilled over there. Even the normal water that comes from that area should be, even within a layout, all the open space, front, side, and rear. You can't put paved pathway with concrete. Hardscape cannot be there. It should be softscape. 50% is the general rule being given for that particular one. We should do that, and provisions are there in the code to deal with that particular one in the landscaping and other related documents also. And of course, the right level of trees to be done, the right level of plants to be kept, so that you are able to ensure that the soil is kept, the roots ensure that the quality of the soil below is also kept. For example, today Singapore is called a city within a garden. I told you, when it comes to 47% of the green space, as again 32% about 15, 20 years back. That is the amount of landscaping and the public parks and garden spaces being maintained in a large way. So those people play an important role, just like your civil engineer or your road engineer or a metro engineer. Your horticulture and landscaping and other related people become a very, very important. I don't think most of our cities have that particular, except in DDA to some extent for their horticulture and related one. Large amount of efforts have been done over the years, but that requires continuously maintained. They should have the right nursery. They should have.
Even when you pave your pavements, there can be grass sinks and things like that, right?
It can also percolating. It can also percolate down. It need not entirely be. It can be a combination of hardscape and landscape being linked together, or even if there are large permeable. There are permeable surfaces where the water can go inside. There are large number of road small holes being kept, nice patterns being there, or as you said, interlaced with landscaping component to bring down. It can happen that also. It can be done. It can easily be done. It's all a matter of attention to that particular need. How do you address that? You have to address that particular component in a large way.
Okay. Now let's come to the hilly terrains which have shown so much vulnerability. There are 4 5 reasons why that have come out. One is the deforestation. One is the intensity of the rainfall. The third is overbuilding in these sensitive areas. So if you look at the total thing, what we've done. But if you have to come in and create a difference, what can you do?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I can tell you, we are the I've been associated in the sector for the last 6 decades, ever since 1966, for the first national building code work started. Most of them have been done with the plain area concept. The hill area development, around 18% of India are hill. Himachal Pradesh, J&K, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, northeastern region, some portion of Western Ghat region of Karnataka, Maharashtra, Kerala, and also in the northeast hills and Sikkim and all that. So therefore, hill area development has been lately receiving the type of attention that it deserves. Much later, only maybe the last 15, 20 years time period. Even right in the NBC, the second version on hill area development, we try to put over there. There are clear-cut rules available. That means in slopes which are more than about 20 degrees or maximum 25 degrees slope one, you can't have development. You can't do in a large number of these things came in Wayanad, is 45 degrees type of slopes over there. Large number of the hill resorts which have come from the tourism people have put in these particular location where it has happened. And can you believe it? The hill areas are classified in terms of high risk, moderate risk and low risk from the point of a landslide possibility. And for information, in Kerala, since I worked on the Kerala building rules in a large way, large number of things starting with the Kasargod district, Wayanad, then Malappuram, then Palakkad, Kottayam, Pathanamthitta, Idiki, all of them, they're clearly classified which are all the hill area where your high risk, where high risk areas of landslide potential is there, it is a no bill land, and nobody wants to declare that this is a non bill land. So there is a large number of social groups who want to go and take that particular, be it the builders or developers or tourism people or even religious groups of certain I don't want to tell the details of that, or even governments. Nobody wants to say that a land is not buildable. If there is a risk is there. Now you'll be shocked to know this in 2018 also, in this particular very same area in Wayanad, the one landslide did take place and was warned. 2018, after the whole thing was there, this should not be permitted for any further building. In spite of that, no regulatory framework has come in over there to where to build and where not to build, and if not, how to take care of the safety aspects of landslide protected housing. Even the Bureau of Indian Standard has brought out large number of documents on landslide protected development. How do you deal with that particular area? The plantation to be done so trees can anchor. The nature of trees being changed into rubber plantation by the plantation people has also substantially helped. They are denuded from 70% of the green cover. It's come down to 20% green cover in all these type of area where the flooding has taken place in a very large way. So therefore, in the case of the hill area, there are many things. One is it is no more a plain land. It has got undulation coming. So slope under which the development should take place, where the cutting and filling should be, where to permit and where not to permit. There are clear rules available. NBC has got a clear part over there, and we are saying that every building bylaw. Recently, Himachal Pradesh has brought out a document, by the way, just for building rules and development controls in hill area, where we can permit, where we cannot permit. And just like the earthquake zonation map, wind zonation map, your landslide zonation map has also come over there. Building Material Technology Promotion Council has also brought out the landslide atlas. Dr. Bandari has done a wonderful job under landslide zonation map there. If only we give import that, if that means very clearly, these are areas of danger. Don't go there. Or if you even if you go there, whatever precaution to be done for what the intensity of development cannot be the same way as it can happen in a plain area. So all the rules, the building rules do not take care of it. They all want to be popular and popular to permit everybody to develop the way they want, and therefore it has got into the type of problem. 405 people dying and 300 missing is not a small number. See, nowhere in the world in a landslide such a major damage has happened. Just and more so when you already had a more so because you already have a warning in 2018 doing that. And even now, take my word, today in 2024, those particular locations of landslide vulnerability of high risk, medium risk, and low risk, the high risk area should have all been clearly identified, and they should have put a no bill zone. They don't like the word no bill zone. Nobody likes a no bill zone. Yeah, because everybody says that you're denying the person from building their own house. It's like access to a resource being there. But forgetting that that particular land cannot be, it's not an area to build upon. Who can take the risk of the death of people? Can you put a value for the life of all these people? You can't do that. So you got to put in safer locations there. They are eco-sensitive. I'm happy that the Ministry of Environment, I was there for about 3.5 years for the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, for the environmental impact assessment, for clearance of projects which has come, a hospital project, a hotel project, a school project, residential project, etc., etc. When you used to come on this, we used to put all this, what is the slope of development, what is the hydraulic path coming over there, is it vulnerable area or high risk or medium risk or low? These questions were asked. And clearance was not given, was given only after compliance of those particular. Many people were not happy when certain projects were not cleared in a lot. And take my word, when the report, the famous report on landslide, which has come from the great professor who has done a wonderful job, when he brought it out, everybody is still feeling that. Not only Maharashtra state, Karnataka state, Goa, and Kerala, they all were against his findings on that. But of course, very right. Madhav Gadkari's report is one of the finest documents. And today, and he said, in your own lifetime, he said in your own lifetime, 5 to 10 years time period, you'll start. Yeah. And how prophetic is that? It's absolutely prophetic. And it's done in a very scientific manner. The report which has come, and the ministry, and I'm happy that the ministry has come down, the eco-sensitive zonation map has already come, and the remote sensing, National Remote Sensing Agency has also brought, especially slopes. Slopes are very important of the terrains there where unbuildable slopes are there. Anything more than 30 degrees, you should not try at all development for that particular area. That should be, and
I'd like to ask you, people in the locals have objected in many places to this unplanned urbanization and building on the slopes. A lot of locals have protested. Sometimes large groups, sometimes the people living there. What is the role of the citizens when in the planning process? And do you think we are using our citizens enough in planning sensitive areas?
the one of the best cases I can quote is when I was the chairman of the task force for the Uttarkashi earthquake. There again, large hill area, landslide was there. I was the chairman for two task forces, one for the Odisha cyclone and the flooding and the sea erosion. Second was the Uttarkashi one. And I do remember specifically how by telling the people that show the area where the damages happened over there and show areas where damage has not happened there. Tell the community, the village panchayat, you got to take them into confidence over there. You're doing at your own risk. You're putting all your life saving over there. You leave alone your life saving. Your own life is going to be has to be saved. So that demonstration helped in the new rehabilitation one which was done for the earthquake and landslide protection area. You got to tell them now in that the government, including the local bodies, when I given the state government, the local body, be it a panchayat or a municipality, along with the what do you call the developers, you got to take them into confidence and saying that it is in your own interest, in your own community's interest. It is not that we are stopping you from doing that particular area, and therefore that has got to be clearly demonstrated. I do remember very vividly Jabalpur earthquake very clearly, and when we could find any number of buildings for there are 2 3 houses which stood very well, even in spite of a very big earthquake there. See, because they had done all the precautions there, this building has stood well. All I required was to show damages or everything flattened down, that one standing alone there. So that's a good proof for that. So people will understand the importance. And when people themselves want to put, for example, government puts their own hospital or a clinic or a school building or a village office or an Anganwadi or a Balwa. It's all government's own investment. They should set a what kind of example by to the people that because of these reasons we have put it over there. It does not come very close to you. It's kept at a place which is safer place. So you got a continuous awareness to be created. Appreciation comes to the people, and therefore application will come based on that. This awareness, appreciation, application is a very major one of effort to be done, and government has to play a very very larger role as responsible for the citizens in a large way, because people may not understand, they can't see beyond, they find a small piece of land, that's the only piece of land they have. So you should indicate that this piece is no good, we'll give alternate piece of land for development. So that's also another area. We'll find a techno financing package to be given, because this land is not buildable, suitable, but this since this is the only one available, they'll try to think of give you some other alternate land or something like that for doing that. Now, for example, people are thinking of rebuilding for all these people. First of all, 400 people have already died. That means minimum at least around 100 families must have gone. 400 people means 100 houses, or it could be even more there. And where will you build? These not these 4 villages completely washed off where they thought a house was there. So that means got to locate safer location, and it has got to be. You asked a question in the beginning of the program. How do you do that? It has got to be both the thing. You got the pre-disaster vulnerability mitigation aspect to come than the post-disaster response. In India, 95% of our effort is only the R series. Post-disaster, how do you rescue a dead body, live body? How will you rehabilitate? How will you put them after disaster has come? How to take care of the hospital? Blah blah blah. You don't do anything on pre-disaster. You know a vulnerability will come into the area. In this particular thing, like for example, landslide zone, earthquake zone, flooding, floodable zone. In those particular area, we should never permit this particular development over there. I am telling this in not only in hill area. Master plans, when they are prepared by the town planners, unfortunately, I should say, town planners are outstanding people who are able to understand the division of land for various purposes. But there are certain locations which are low-lying area, unbuildable area. They should not have any use coming in the master plan. There are many master plans and layout have come in that particular area where they should not have come at all. And of course, private sector developer, as long as they get the piece of land, they think that their own land, they will fill up that low-lying area and will build up in that particular, forgetting that that's the hydraulic path. So therefore, lot of pre-disaster mitigation of not only prediction and also planning for that particular thing, and also protection to be done, and how do you take care of the things through the P series of action, which is substantial large way, including the what under the pre-disaster mitigation is a major area which has got to come either in the master plans, the lands over there, or through the building regulation, or through the development control rule. These are all the tools and instruments that you have in your hand, including vulnerability mapping, risk mapping area, and where and you if you do that in the beginning itself, there's no meaning trying to cry over later, it has happened. It will happen because you are not taking care of it. We are much wiser now. What much wiser? For example, the warning given on the 23rd and 24th that you're going to have a major flood coming. The one lady even gave it at 1 o'clock in the morning based on some hint over there. But nobody bothered to real. They could have evacuated then and there. It took about another 48 hours or many hours for them to, for 72 hours time period based on the warning given on the 23rd and 24th. It would not happen on 28th, 9th and 30th if only we had evacuated. A good example I would say was the example of Orissa. Orissa launched, of course, I can't put the same way as landslide and flooding, but the same way as cyclone coming. Cyclone once it comes in the Bay of Bengal, it's going to come 48 hours, 72 hours from now, 48 hours from now, 24 hours from now. That's keeping on moving and going to hit the land, hit on. So therefore, major effort in late 1990, when the Orissa cyclone, Andhra cyclone came, maybe 10,000, 20,000 people died. But later on, when it happened, it is now even one person dead, or they had cyclone shelters being created where they can take into a protected land, etc. Clearance and such type of thing is equally important. I don't find any facility of that nature in any of the hill area where they can be taken to a safer area which will take care of protecting them in the case of a thing coming. So many things the state can do and they should do it. I remember in the flood, the Orissa cyclone, Hakko itself has constructed about 100 schools using the MP LAD scheme, local area development scheme. Each MP gave money for 100 odd schools. Hatko itself planned and built it over. And those cyclone shelters over there are normally schools with the ground floor and the first floor area, and which during a cyclone people can all come over there where facility of food, resting, everything is there. That will be done at a level where it is safer than where they are. So if you also require alternate options, where will they go? So maybe visitations will come not every day. Maybe 365 days. This will happen only 5 days in a year, or once in 2 years or 3 years. But such facility creation equally important. I am not aware of any such facility being created where this type of landslide related area has happened, be it in Uttarkashi or for that matter in Kerala floods, or in Karnataka, in Dakshin Kannada, Kodagu region where large number of landslides and killing has happened.
Sure. So, all in all, urban planning needs to pull up its socks, right? There is the rules are there, the guidelines are there. The finances you said is about 1% of the total planning allocations, but the implementation has been faulty, has not been there, and without that, the volume of loss of life has become more and more severe.
I would go one stage further. I know it's a little explosive statement. Even a part of a planning course, master planning course for the Master of Town Planning after your architecture engineering degree or a bachelor's degree of plan. The issues of planning with larger amount of circulation pattern all are covered there. The transportation planning, geographic planning, economic planning, but disaster mitigation planning for all these vulnerabilities are never taken into account by the planners over there. Which show me a master plan which has really taken care of this particular situation. Very rarely, excepting those particular new master plans created after the Gujarat earthquake in various. We also have, or in the Latur earthquake, we all have been participating in the reconstruction program. I told you Uttarkashi also a case of that. So we don't have that. It is not only implementation of that, even awareness of this particular thing of disaster vulnerability is never a part of the planning process, of master planning process, to leave out such area either at a higher level, lower level, within city, especially water body related one where these are part of the hydraulic path. And that's the reason why the type of problem coming. And more importantly, when city planners and developers and politicians, builders, nexus decide to put pressure to increase the floor area ratio. Can you believe the floor area ratio has gone to as high as 400 in all these particular places? Whereas normally 125, 150 would have, or 1.5 would have been a good rule. for I multiply 100 is what I'm saying. In Kerala, most of the cases already gone to aspect of 4, including for the hilly terrains. It's very high intensity of development because the
Land doesn't have the carrying capacity, right?
much more. Otherwise, you provide, but they want this one to be permitted, but not the one supporting infrastructure to provide. Please look into Part 3 of the National Building Code, where we have clearly indicated on floor area ratio. When you want to increase that, you have to increase very clearly the capacity of infrastructure of only the road carrying capacity, the water carrying drainage capacity has to be enhanced. For that particular thing, they should know how much is the hydraulic load going to come on that. So that means the concerned specialist, it is no more a road engineer that's required. It is a hydraulic engineer who deals with the water flow aspect has got to be kept as a different professional. He's a different person has got to be there. I don't think it has been done. And it will be shocking to know most of the cities and towns, the water supply and drainage are not looked after by the city engineers. They have put up the road there. That is looked after by a water supply board or a sewerage board or a Jal Nigam or a Jeevan Pradhikaran, which is separate independent parastatal. But their job is only water line to be put, sewer line to be put. Nothing to deal with. And stormwater drain is also part of some of those particular one. So there is a disjoint between those particular responsibility also in terms of flooding as a important topic which has come there, and I'm very happy that the Bureau of Indian Standard is now come up now a major thing because of the concern from various cities and towns there, urban flooding happening, how to take care of the cities and towns with flood what concerns to be taken care of in the right way. And you will find a new dimension coming of the flow of water, the sections carrying, you use the word carrying capacity rightly, right? You said 2-3 times. Very abysmally poor. According to me, the carrying capacity will be much lower, at least about 1/5 of what is required, number one. Excepting in drought cities when no rainfall came, you'll think why put all this larger one. And a series of effort, solid waste management also failing miserably, going and choking with the debris, construction demolition waste being put into the drain, etc. So already poor capacity, and you still block that particular thing with all this waste being put into that. So it's a cumulative effect of all this, of what is misgovernance, urban governance, misgovernance happening of very large nature, which has resulted into what this problem is. We are going to discuss the National Building Code implementation Palakkad on the 9th and 10th. We are going to have a 2-day program on how some of these issues have got to be taken into account, either and what type of change to happen in the municipal building rule and panchayat building rules for cities and towns as well as villages also.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. This conversation is actually the beginning of a series of dialogues that we are holding. Urban Insights is all about what are the problems and how experts like you can bring solutions forward.
Found this video useful? Please subscribe to this channel for more such videos. Do like and share with as many people as you can.